All right, everyone, it's now week 8 of the NFL season. We're more than halfway through our family beatdown league for this season. Let's get right into the update. Let's start with college football. Had a great opportunity to go to Stanford versus Washington on Saturday night with young Mr. Quincy. One thing I'll say, Stanford won that game, increased their rankings. They're in the top 25. They look pretty good. They've got this kid, McCaffrey, who's just a one-man wrecking crew. He tore it up against the Trojans and did the same thing against the Huskies. But the one thing I'd say is Stanford has got one of the nicest stadiums I've ever seen. It's 50,000, so not a huge capacity, but great lines of sight. Really a nice feel of a park. Always good to experience a new stadium. Had a great time with Quincy, as always. But let's get into it. So Notre Dame was off last week, and even though they were off, they still moved up 2 spots in the rankings to number 9. Notre Dame takes on Temple this week in Philadelphia. Temple is rated number 21. So, a matchup against a ranked team for the Fighting Irish. The Trojans, on the other hand, were so busy knocking off the number 3 ranked Utah Utes last weekend. But isn't it funny? I mean, even though they knocked off number 3, Utah dropped down to number 13. USC still did not crack back into the top 25. That goes to show you just exactly what the coaches and the voters and the rankings think of the Trojans this year. It's going to come back around, I'll tell you. We got Cal this weekend. Cal dropped out of the top 25 rankings, but it should be a good matchup for the Trojans. Okay, so let's get into our league, and oh my, we all got to hand it to the basic white chicks. Good job, Alex, birthday boy. By the way, happy birthday, big man. Alex knocked off the undefeated Moist Men of the Mountain. It was 168 to 146, a very high-scoring affair, but Basic White Chicks had more than enough to knock Tyson out of the ranks of the unbeaten. Now both teams stand at 6-1. My team, my God, I lost 88 to 64 to Jed. And not that that's a bad thing. I mean, Jed's not paying attention to your team. But also, Jed had 2 players on bye, and I still lost by over 20 points, even though Jed spotted me 2 players. My, oh my. I now drop to 2-5. Jed climbs up to 2-5. Girard Invincibles gets a win, moves to 4-3. They won 121 to 73 over Blue and Gold. Blood, Sweat, and Beer improves to 4-3 with a 123 to 120 victory over Back That Pass Up. Back That Pass Up struggling at 1-6. Swamp Donkeys, 6-1. Also, we've got 3 teams now at 6-1. Swamp Donkeys, 177 over 106 for Big Blue. Veronica drops to 4-3. As we talked about, Moist Men of the Mountain lost it to Basic White Chicks. And the Rednecks improved to 3-4 with a 120 to 119 win. That's a 120.6 to 119.2. So that's a 1.4 victory for Dawn over Ryan's People of Color. Let's take a look at the playoffs. Basic White Chicks now moves into Swamp Donkeys now moves into overall first place with a 6-1 record, but he scored 1,069 points. Basic White Chicks, due to the head-to-head matchup, now sits atop the Cardinal Division, 65 points. Moist Men of the Mountain at number 3, 6-1 with 1,034. Then the rest of your playoff teams are number 4, Blood, Sweat, and Beer. Number 5, Girard Invincible, sitting with a playoff spot right now. Good job, Grandpa. Keep the win going. And Big Blue sitting at number 6. Number 7 is Blue and Gold. And number 8 is the Rednecks outside looking in if the playoffs were to start today. Let's talk about this week that's coming up. So, Smell This gets a matchup against Blood, Sweat, and Beer. It's a time to get my streak on right now. I've got all my players back off by, all the important ones anyway. Aaron Rodgers gets a matchup against unbeaten Denver, up in Denver, so that should be a tough matchup. Travis Benjamin against Arizona, Demaryius Thomas against the Green Bay Packers, Giovanni Bernard against Pittsburgh. For Dani, she's got Brady against Miami. Good division game there for the Patriots. DeAndre Hopkins predicted to go long over Tennessee, and Chris Johnson also predicted to do well over Cleveland. It's 130 to 115 in favor of Smell This. I've got to get back on the good foot. I'm going to give the win to Smell This. Girard Invincibles, after the upset Last week, Grandpa is 118 to 103 projected winners over Veronica this week. Matt Stafford is listed as questionable, so watch out for him, Grandpa. You do have Robinson on bye, so you need to cover up that. Otherwise, Grandpa's matchups look pretty good. Got Adrian Peterson against the Chicago Bears, projected to have a big day, as well as Justin Forsett over San Diego. For Veronica, Carson Palmer against Cleveland, that's a good matchup. She also has Jordan Matthews on bye, so you need to cover up there, and you've got your tight end on bye as well, Veronica. Other key matchups, John Stewart against Indianapolis, and then gets that New York Jets defense, which is a very tough defensive squad this year. Really, that's probably the bright spot on the New York Jets. They get Oakland and are projected to go long. Even though Veronica's got 2 open spots, I don't think she's going to cover. I think Matt Stafford will end up winning. I think Grandpa gets his second win in a row. Basic White Chicks taking on Back That Pass Up. It's 94 to 87 in favor of Rebecca right now. She's got Russell Wilson against Dallas, T.Y. Hilton against Carolina. Other key matchups, LeGarrette Blount against Miami. That Philadelphia defense is on bye, so you may want to pick up a new defense there, Rebecca. For the White Chicks, Sam Bradford's on bye for Alex. He'll make that adjustment. Other key matchups are Chris Ivory against Oakland, and Devontae Freeman expected to go really long against Tampa Bay, and then Lamar Miller 11.3. I think Rebecca will cover this week and will pick up her second win of the season. So long, Basic White Chicks. Taking a look now at Swamp Donkeys versus the Rednecks. This is husband and wife, 6-1 Swamp Donkeys against 3-4 Rednecks. It's 139 to 131 in favor of Rick on paper. Big Ben Roethlisberger for Rick, back questionable, but I think he's back this week. Larry Fitzgerald is going against Cleveland. Chad Johnson against Kansas City. Le'Veon Bell against Cincinnati, and Todd Gurley expected to do 16 points against San Francisco. For the Rednecks, Drew Brees gets the New York Football Giants. Who else? Key matchups. Oh my goodness, Matt Forte is projected to go 22 against Minnesota. My goodness, and Mark Ingram projected to do 12 against the New York Football Giants. I'm going to give the win to the underdog here, the Rednecks. Let's take a look now at Moist Man of the Mountain versus Third Down for What. It's 129 to 111 in favor of Tyson. Tyson has Alex Smith against Detroit, Odell Beckham, who's probable going against New Orleans. Other key matchups, Gronkowski projected to do 11 against the Dolphins, and Brandon Marshall projected to do 11 also against Oakland. For Third Down for What, Cam Newton gets Indianapolis. Julio Jones up against Tampa Bay, projected to do 13. Randall Cobbs is probable 11 against Denver. Marshawn Lynch projected to do 13 against Dallas. There's 2 players on bye there, Jed, but what the hell, man? You spotted the me 2 players. Why don't you spot Moist Men of the Mountain and see what happens? That said, I'm going to go with Moist Men of the Mountain because I think Tyson is not going to let an opportunity with 2 players on bye get through his little hands. And in our game of the week, it's our game of the week because it's the last one I'm calling. It's People of Color 1-6 versus Blue and Gold. It's 118 to 110 on paper right now in favor of Ryan. Andrew Luck gets 44 against Carolina. Carlos Hyde is projected to do 10, but is listed as probable. He's kind of been down the last couple of weeks. I'm expecting a breakout game from him. I got him in my other league. And those are the big matchups. That St. Louis defense is supposed to put up 16 against San Francisco, and San Francisco is just atrocious this year. Let's talk about Blue and Gold. Matt Ryan gets Tampa Bay. He's projected to do almost 40. Julian Edelman, almost 12 against Miami. Lewis, the running back, who's listed as questionable for New England, is projected to do 10. And also, you've got John Randall, who's listed as questionable. You may want to check that one out, Jake. He's projected to do 0 points. I think I'm going to give the win to People of Color. That's right. I'm going to go behind Ryan. Ryan, you're going to pick up your second win of the season. All right, that's it. That's the update for this week. Everybody have a great Halloween. It's Saturday night. You can take off your mask now, Alex. See what I did there? Happy birthday again, bud. We'll talk to you soon. All right, everyone. So long.